Okay, so I chose to do the New York Times ad campaign, The Truth is Hard. It first was introduced at the 2017 Oscars with this short commercial that ran between the show. So they launched that, and then after that, they kind of expanded to like The Truth is Worth It, and I linked it to the website or the main page of the ad campaign right here from the New York Times itself. This kind of like pulls it all together, piecing together the facts, vetting sources, connecting the details. The New York Times applies journalistic rigor to every topic we cover. In our mission to deliver what is critical to democracy, independent journalism with an unwavering commitment to the truth. So with this, they're just kind of really enforcing the idea that the New York Times is there for the audience and like they will deliver the true story. And if you scroll down here, this is like all the different like big videos they've done. So this is about the subway system, climate change, immigration. They really tackle like all the most like controversial topics that are in our world right now. So it's a campaign, as I said, that vows to show the truth within a story. It shows the commitment to sharing quality reporting and journalism straight from the New York Times. And ultimately, the goal is to show that subscribing to a news source, specifically like the New York Times, is worth it because you do have to pay a subscription to the Times, but it is very much worth it because they are devoted to showing the real story and really getting what their audience wants out of their Times, their news. It brings to light stories and processes of journalists because some people just think that journalists will throw together a story, but no, if you see the videos, like at the end, it has the full headline and the video is really just showing what it takes for journalists to create that end headline, like what they have to look up, who they have to contact. And it was later turned into a multimedia campaign, which I go into further later. This up on the right is something that was like, I don't really know where the location is, but you can see the Empire State Building in the back. So somewhere in New York City, it's very straightforward, white background, black print, kind of like a newspaper would be, just to grab your attention. Then you don't really notice that it is part of the New York Times until obviously the bottom. But this kind of got the like public talking about and noticing what they were doing. And on the left, this is one of my, I think the most effective one that they did. It's about global warming.
From the New York Times, no flights, no roads. We're trying to figure out what animals are being affected. This is a really challenging place to work. El Nino starting to go haywire. Everywhere is going to get touched by climate change.
So again, I think it's very telling to show like what a journalist will go through to get a end story. So I like how they also include a lot of like real dialogue and footage that the journalists are out there in the Galapagos and wherever, and they're really like firsthand experiencing what they're writing about. So it's not just like someone sitting in a desk in New York talking about I don't know, migrant crisis or global warming. They are out there like figuring it out and really firsthand experiencing what they are tackling as a topic. The delivery, the campaign began in a time where there was heavy anti-press attitude in the media because it was shortly after Trump was elected and all like the fake news and all of that. So it shows the dedication the New York Times reporters go through to deliver the true story to their audience. Because a lot of news outlets will tailor their journalism to their audience's preferences and what they want to see and what they think is true. But the New York Times will tell you this is this, and like it's not really an opinion, it's a fact. The videos walk the audience through the process of getting to the truth, as I've said before, and they released a series of multiple ads, all addressing controversial topics. I think it's very with the times because it's enjoyable to watch because no one really has a long attention span to watch a documentary about how a New York Times reporter traveled to Mexico and documented the migrant crisis, which I'll show that video. But it's just really quick and to the point messaging, and I think it's super effective, especially in our time. And as I said before, it includes real footage and dialogue. This one is about the separation of families at the border.
If you thought the child was endangered, that's the only circumstance to which you would separate.
Can't imagine doing it otherwise.
It's Caitlin Dickerson from the New York Times calling you back.
You get your first and last name.
Caitlin Dickerson, see. I'm an immigration reporter here at the Times. This isn't the only case. Please be in touch as soon as possible. But I know that's not true. It's Caitlin Dickerson here at the Times. On my landline phone, and the shelters really don't know what to do with them. Very little documentation of them. I know that's not true. I'm an immigration reporter here at the Times. Deadline is tomorrow.
So that one is very, I think, effective and kind of really eye-opening. I think it's very interesting to see like what the different kind of things that a reporter needs to look into a story instead of just taking from other news outlets, blah, blah, blah. They call people, they're there, they're on the scene, they're really getting every side of the story. And I think that that's what like readers, especially in today's age, they really want just like the stone cold facts because everyone has an opinion about everything. And I mean, if you're going to create a news outlet that is just an opinion news outlet, then that's not really going to go very well. You're not going to get much of an audience. And the New York Times is really good at being like transparent and straight to the point. The ad targets an audience who wants the truth in the news, as I said before, rather than outlets who may sway a story and tailor it to their audience's preferences. I found on the Drum that 40% of traffic to the New York Times is aged 18 through 34. And within that, 75% of the traffic is through a mobile device or a laptop or a computer. No one really is holding a true newspaper these days. I don't know. And through that, they decided to make a multimedia digital campaign, which I think was very effective. And all these ads ran on TV and also YouTube. And the results, after the first 24 hours of the first running of the ad and the Oscars that I showed at the beginning, the 30-second one, the New York Times gained more subscribers in the 6 weeks prior to the launch of that ad campaign. The quarter after that ad was released, the New York Times had their best quarter for subscription growth. At the time, I'm sure this has grown, but we have 5.12 billion impressions on the video and made 16.8 million in media value. I think the campaign becomes more relevant every day. We're in a time of a lot of controversial topics and things that need to be addressed. And I don't really think they'll ever end the campaign because as we all know, like things are kind of weird right now. Like they could easily make The Truth is Worth It about the coronavirus or the Trump administration, another one because they've already made one about Trump. They have 20 million views on all of their videos combined and obviously counting. Then they were the most talked about and searched for brand during the 2017 Oscars when it was launched. Won a bunch of awards. Every time I looked it up, I found a new award that it won or was nominated for. So I found a bunch of these articles. I know they won a very important one at the Filmcraft at Cannes in France. Yeah. It continues to address a lot of controversial issues as they continue the campaign, or they continued the campaign since 2017, like pay gap in sports, global warming, sexual harassment, government issues, presidential campaigns, ISIS, and more. This one is one addressing that hashtag #MeToo movement. Nope. I think it's very important that they kept like the same style of each video, the same like typing different things into like what would be like a Google search, and then like in the background different things. But I think more serious topics like this one, it was very effective with no background, just white background, black text, very short, very to the point, and it really gives the message like a powerful meaning. But I do think, as I was saying before, I think it's very important that they kept the same like vibe of all of their ads that they created, and it came together as I think it's very important campaign, and I think it should be talked about more. I think it definitely deserved a lot more, you could say, clout within the media world. And then they continued it to the truth is local. So basically, like the whole campaign is like the truth is campaign, and then from that they kind of expanded it. They started with the truth is hard, and then the truth is worth it. The truth is local. These on the left are just little signs they put in front of like different boroughs, different local restaurants in like Queens and Brooklyn. And then they did a whole ad campaign, like the truth is worth it, about the New York subway system. I won't show it because it's kind of long, but it's very interesting because they are addressing things in their hometown also. So it's not like they're biased or just addressing like really controversial things within the news, but they're also there for their hometown. They're there for people who were there from the beginning, New York. I think it's a very good video. And yes, those are my sources.